I just wanted to talk a little bit about the history of the American working Staffordshire Bull Terrier lines. I know I get a lot of questions all the time, and in the history in itself, it seems to be hard to get a hold of, or it's dying. It's leaving. All the old timers are passing away, and before too long, the history won't be there. So I wanted to touch on it a little bit and just share some information about my bloodline, and mainly the where it comes from, and where it originated from. Starting off, let's see. Let me mention first, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier is an English bloodline. It originated from English Staffordshire Bull Terrier dogs, right? It was registered by the kennel clubs, and but it's important to note that because I hear a lot of misinformation about the Irish Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and I've heard from anything from it's a code name for pit bulls, and it's I've also heard the show crowd refer to it as the rejects, the last picks, from the show dogs, were sent to Ireland, and that's what the Dublin Red or the Irish Staffs are from, which is furthest from the truth. So it's an English Staffordshire Bull Terrier in England. They imported some of the dogs to Ireland, and in Ireland they basically worked them, and they selected their whole breeding program on pure Staffordshire Bull Terriers that were able to work and get the job done. And we're talking about late 50s, early 60s, late 70s and stuff. They had badger trials, and that was something that could help determine some of the gameness, toughness of the Staffordshire Bull Terriers. And so they would send these Staffordshire Bull Terriers down in holes, and they used other breeds, I think Bull Terriers at the time, and Wheatons and stuff like that. But let's focus on the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. And so that was a test they used. The Irish Staffordshire Bull Terrier was from, all the Staffordshire Bull Terriers were from, I guess you could say, show lines, or from the foundation stocks, the foundation R line, L line, M line, N line, B line, etc. Right? So you have the foundation dogs that created it, and then they selected the best of the best. And like I said, they were sent the worst ones. Well, how is that true? If they weren't any good, if they didn't do the task, if they didn't get the badger, if they didn't get do the job that they were supposed to do, I'd imagine they called them. They didn't use them in their program, right? So they got rid of them. So they only bred the ones that were capable. So the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, got over there and started line breeding on these proven dogs, these working Staffordshire Bull Terrier lines, these dogs that were capable, functional. The best were sought after, and people drove around to breed to these dogs. And some of the famous lines offhand were the old Flynn dogs. The Dublin Red is pretty well known, famous bloodline. I hear that used a lot. And then there's the Psycho line, and there's a number of others that kind of trickle off of it. But just to get to the main gist of it, that's where these lines originated from. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the American working Staffordshire Bull Terrier lines, and that's kind of, it takes us to that place where some of the old dogmen in the United States, like Al Brown, Pete Sparks, Joe Ordaz, and a number of others, mainly just a handful of the best, imported dogs from Ireland, and there were a few counts where they've gotten them from England as well. But they got these Staffordshire Bull Terriers, and the whole main goal was to get game dogs to use with their dogs. You know, they seen them as the same. So they imported these dogs over, and let's see, probably I think 59 was one of the 1959 was one of the very first few. It was let's see, there were two. Al Brown had a litter mate. He got from over there, and I believe it was Joe Ordays had the sister to it. And let me see, I get sidetracked sometimes with all the names because they're all a lot of closely, yeah. Shanny of Dublin was Al Brown's, and then let's see, the litter mate I believe was Arrogant Resistance is no, maybe it wasn't. It was Arrogant Devil. That's the litter mate to Shanty of Dublin. And then Pete Sparks owned Eric. Let's see. Okay, so some of the dogs from Ireland that were owned. All right. So some of the dogs Joe Ordays had, just to name a few of them. Let's see. There were Ordays Leo, who he imported from the same yard that Champion Psycho came from. And let's see, there's Arrogant Devil, who was a litter mate to Al Brown's dog, that actually made it on the cover of Your Friend and Mine that Pete Sparks wrote. Let's see, and then I guess that all these lines tie together through Rocket, and Rocket was, or you can say, I've seen him on pedigrees, Ordays Rocket, but Pete Sparks bred him because he owned the dam to the dog, and the Dynamite bloodline is heavily Rocket, and a lot of the Intrepid bloodline and Steadfast bloodline now, and you can trace all that back to some of the best Irish working dogs at the time. And so the United States, these men got the dogs over and they started, testing them and working them and proving them out and selective breeding them to the best. I believe it was Lady Ordays had beat a Corvino dog years ago, I think in the 70s and stuff. So she was a one-time winner. There were just a number of these Irish imported dogs and bloodlines that were kind of created in the United States, and kind of a novelty of the big-time dog men in the United States had these, and they bred them kind of, more for I really don't know. Maybe the enjoyment of just having them. Maybe some of them were added into the American Pit Bull Terrier line. Others were kept pure, and that's where my dogs kind of go back to the pure Staffordshire Bull Terrier lines. Another thing to note, I hear a lot when Champion Psycho is referred in talk and stuff. Everybody says, "Oh, Bull Terrier blood, Bull Terrier this. He's half Bull Terrier." No, he wasn't. Okay, he had a little tiny bit of Bull Terrier blood, and the kennel clubs allowed it back in the day. They were creating the color Bull Terrier, and they allowed quarter Bull Terrier crosses to be registered in the kennel club. And so that's what happened. And so I'd be willing to bet every single show bloodline has Bull Terrier blood in it. That's just something a lot of people don't know. And again, I see and I don't want to talk a lot about it, but a lot of the current show crowd, is pushing this really wild looking, over exaggerated bull type. And their justification is, oh, well, the founding fathers or the people intended it to go this route, which is furthest from the truth. And the reason I say that is, why would they if they wanted to? I mean, it's in England. Why didn't they use the English Bulldog, right? Why did they use a Bull Terrier cross? And and you can look into that more in depth. But these dogs were imported to the United States. These Irish Lions from Ordays and others, and Pete Sparks and Al and there was a man, Steve Stone. He was one of the founders in the United States and in other places as well. But he played a big part into making sure these pedigrees were kept, written down, and these dogs were registered in the American Kennel Club. And he did, detrimental. He was played a big part of the line, why it's still going on today. It's amazing. I am honored to say that I've spoke to him and met him and got to talk to him a lot about the dogs and the bloodlines and stuff. And he shared a lot of his information with me, and knowledge and passion too. We shared that together. And anyway, so Steve helped get these dogs registered and stuff, so they were able to live through the American Kennel Club pedigrees and everything. Okay, so to talk a little bit about the history and the lineage of the dogs. They came from the Irish working stock, and then they came to the hands of Joe and others. And from there were a few bloodlines that were created. Intrepid was one of them. Dynamite were probably the two biggest. And then you could, and Yankee Staff. And what Yankee Staffs biggest contribute to it, I guess you could say, was actually breeding to one of the famous Dublin Red dogs, Champion Red Joe. And so his blood was actually used extensively in some of those lines, and crossed with the current working, American lines, and just helped further create a really good, healthy, hardy, athletic, true to type Staffordshire Bull Terrier. And that's part of the history in the United States. And another thing to add, early on in the 50s and 60s, these dogs were dual registered. They were able to be registered as an American Pit Bull Terrier and a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. And so a lot of these original dogs had two pedigrees, and they were pure Staffordshire Bull Terriers. That they just some of the American Pit Bull Terrier kennel clubs and registries back then saw them as working dogs and register them as that. And so basically all these dogs go back to the Steadfast bloodline, and I'm fortunate to have all that, all those great lines, Orday's Leo and Orday's Lady to Keystone Beauregard was a well-known American Staffordshire Bull, or he was an American strand of the working line of the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. He had a litter mate that not many people talk about, and maybe they don't know about or draw the correlation to. She was a really nice female named Intrepid Irish Casey, and that was a litter mate to Keystone Beauregard. And both of them were were said to be very, good workers, good dogs, good, true Staffordshire Bull Terrier type. And I'm fortunate that my dogs go all the way back to that, to some of the foundation imported dogs from the 50s, from the late 50s, early 60s. And that's kind of where it's evolved today. Over the years, I did add some different bloodlines. You can kind of see that, again, It's all English. From the Staffordshire Bull Terrier is an English-based breed, but they're within the breeding, they're known for different locations. You have the Irish Staffs, the South African Staffordshire Bull Terriers, and then you have the different kind of bloodlines, I guess, that people associate with different ones. But I was able to select dogs from that Steve Stone helped put me in contact with, and go more. But I'll talk about my bloodline at maybe a different time, my current dogs, and then how it started. I just want to touch more on the working Irish Staffordshire Bull Terrier line. Maybe I can do that at another time. But all right, thanks for watching, and all this is just for history. I think it needs to get out there before it's gone. There's a lot of criticism and a lot of hate, and a lot of people that just don't know, and confusion and stuff. And I think it's good to kind of get the word out there that that the history of this breed, because it's important. It's important to me, at least, and I would like like to share that with others. People keep asking me and want me to kind of talk about it, so I figured I would. But all right, well, I'll see you later.